I paid for the ChatGPT Plus plan the month it came out in February of 2023, and I kept it for 30 months until the summer of 2025 when I canceled it because I was going to move to Claude. I was trying some different things. And what I realized as I moved is so much of my work, projects, folders, chats, custom GPTs, basically all the work that I did lived in ChatGPT. So when I went to start over in Claude, I basically had nothing. And I realized I built my whole system around working with AI wrong. And I told myself, I don't know how to do this, but I'm not going to make the same mistake when I flip over to Claude, where I just work in the Claude app. And if my employer or my personal plan gets canceled, I have nothing and I have to start all over again. But switching between Claude and ChatGPT now is not a problem at all. Besides your employer canceling your subscription or you canceling yours, some other reasons why you might want to build a way to work with AI that's model agnostic and lab agnostic. You also might have to use a tool because you're collaborating with someone and all of your work is stuck somewhere else. A lot of us have also had this happen where it feels like one of your models just gets dumber. People complain about this all the time with Claude Code and Codex, but it feels like they lobotomize their model and it's just not as good for a couple of days or a week. And you go, man, I wish I could keep working in this project folder, but not be stuck in Claude or stuck in Codex. And I want to try something else. For any of these reasons, you definitely need to build an ecosystem around your work that you can take to any app or use with any model and not be stuck behind a paywall, especially once you cancel and leave for good. Here's the method that I use today to avoid that problem. I just call it the binder method. And the way that I think of it is my work is like a binder. Inside of that binder, there might be a bunch of different pages and there's like the little 3 rings that you can pull things out of or add to that. But the premise is it can work on any device that I use. So I might be on a laptop at home one day, and then I might be on a desktop because that's where I do my video editing. I want to be able to use it across devices. I also want to be able to use it across apps. So I might be in Claude, I might be in Codex. Both of those need to be able to talk to my binder. And then I want to be able to use any model within those. So Codex, I could use GPT 5.5, or if I'm in Claude, I could use Opus or Sonnet or whatever the best model is for the task, and work in the binder. The way the binder system works is I have it in a GitHub repo. And if GitHub is scary to you, it's just cloud storage for coding, but you don't have to use it to code apps and websites. It can just be text files and documents, basically like you would use Google Drive or OneDrive. And I just have a binder called Chief of Staff. For my work, that's a private repo, and I can just say, hey, go take that binder from GitHub and check it out today. And then do my work locally, like on my laptop. And when I'm done, I can say, check the binder back into GitHub, and it's basically going to push the changes back and update the newest version. So the next day, if I wake up and I go to a different device and say, now I want to be in Cursor, check out the GitHub repo, the binder, so to speak, I can just pick up where I left off the night before, and it doesn't matter what device, doesn't matter what agent product I'm using or what app, and it doesn't matter what model. Now, let's talk about what goes in your binder. Like, what do you need to make this system work? Think of these like little tabs inside of your binder when you open them up. The first one is a running to-do list. I just call mine today.md, which means it's a markdown file. It's basically plain text, and it's just, what am I working on? What needs to get done? If you like to use an Eisenhower matrix or any of these productivity systems, you can do that and tag tasks with like important, urgent, not important, not urgent. But what matters is it's basically plain text, so anything can read it. I keep a projects folder, so those are maybe videos I'm working on or research that I'm doing. Just like you might have projects inside of the Claude or the ChatGPT app, I keep a projects folder inside of my binder so I can keep track of the big connected work that I'm doing. Another one is all of your coding agents like Claude Code and Codex and Cursor use some kind of instruction document. Now, all of them except Claude use agents.md. Those are basically high-level instructions for Codex or Cursor. If you're using Claude code, you can do the exact same thing. It's a markdown file, but they call it Claude.md. What I do is I have all of those attached in my binder. And if I make a change in Cursor, here's an example. I was having it create Notion documents for this project, and it kept creating 2 documents per task. And I wanted them to create them in the same Notion doc and combine them. Well, if I put a new note in my agents.md, my top level instructions, Cursor can follow that. But if I go open Codex, that's a whole different file in a different folder. Since I'm checking out this binder, the agents.md that Cursor made a change to is going to get pushed back to GitHub. And if I check out my project with Codex the next day, it has those updated instructions. So you're trying to create this universal set of agent instructions across all of the different apps that you would use and keep those synced up so you're not missing the little tweaks you make along the way. Another important one to keep in there are your skills. So while you can upload your skills into Claude, say you're in the desktop app and you're like, hey, turn this research I did into a skill that's repeatable. It's just a markdown file. That's great to have in Claude, but if you go open ChatGPT or Cursor, it has no idea what skills live in your Claude app. So what I do is I keep all of my skills in a GitHub repo. I just call them Aaron's skills, they're private. And now in my agents.md and Claude.md instructions, I tell it anytime Aaron mentions a skill, here's the repo folder that has all of his skills in GitHub. Now you don't have to put them all in your agents.md instructions. You just tell it where to look. That way, if I say, use my research skill, I could be in Claude, it knows where to find that. I could be in Cursor, it knows where to find that same skill. And now my skills can talk across all of the different environments that I use. And if I find a way to tweak one of my skills and I save that to the GitHub version, I know the next time I use it across any one of these apps, I'm going to have the newest version of the skill. Another thing that I add to my binder that's really handy is I need a little fingerprint on which device and which environment I'm using it in that day. So think of it like the little library card. It's not going to just say Aaron checked out the book. It's going to say Aaron on his MacBook using Cursor checked out this binder today at this time. And it's just called active hosts. And that way I can tell as I work across a project when and where I had it open and make sure that everything is synced up. So if I open my Chief of Staff on my Mac Studio because I'm going to edit a video, I might say, hey, Codex, check out the Chief of Staff repo. It's going to update this active host and say, Aaron checked out this repo on the Mac Studio with Codex on today's date. And then I can keep that little library card paper trail of which device, which agent environment on what date. And you don't have to be an expert with GitHub, but basically it's a way to take your work and put it in the cloud and allow you to connect to it and update it from anywhere. If you don't know the terminology like a PR or a push, it really doesn't matter. Just tell the AI tool what you want to do and it'll explain it in simple terms. All of them have connectors to GitHub, so you don't even have to go look at your GitHub to do all of this. It can be kind of scary. It's a weird website. It's like for technical people. For us normies, you can just say, put this in GitHub, check it out, update it, and you never actually have to go to GitHub itself. So let's use my Chief of Staff for work as an example. Based on the GitHub tracking, here's what I can tell you about that binder. First of all, it has 167 commits. That is times that something got updated in GitHub, and that's in less than a month. It has 190 project files. So in that little binder, think of it like 190 pages across different things I've been working on. My today.md has been updated 94 times. So when I cross something off the list, it's basically going to take it off the today.md and move up the next thing. It has 61 different checkouts on it. So basically 61 different times have I taken the binder off of the shelf, including 2 different devices, my Studio and my MacBook, because I have it labeled on there. And I mostly use Codex and Cursor, but I have used Claude a little bit. I also have a personal chief of staff that I use the same binder system with for all of my side projects and family stuff. So how can you make your own binder system? I have a list for you. First of all, you just need to start with a folder. So if you're not a GitHub person, you should be, but if you're not and that's too much for you, just make a new folder on your device in your documents or your desktop and call it personal binder or work binder. And then if you want to use this as your to-do list, you can make a file called today. I like it in Markdown because it's just easy for agents to read and humans. It's not in code, it's text with pound signs basically. And put your priorities on there or explain your to-do list tracking system. I like an Eisenhower matrix for mine. And then if you have any projects that you're going to be working on, make folders for those within this folder of your binder system. So for me, for personal, it could be things like my personal website, family, finances, travel, something like that. If you have any skills that you've made, you can put those in there or you can link to them. I like to save them in the cloud, GitHub, because anything can talk to them. But if you have them locally, that's okay. Your agent can put them in the cloud for you later so that all of your different models and apps can use those when needed. So the basic idea here is use these project folders to keep track of all the documentation, the changes, the research, the context that you're going to need. But make them portable so Codex can check in the binder and Claude can check it out. And if you're somebody who's made the jump to Claude in 2025, like most of the people that I know have sort of left ChatGPT and gone to Claude, and I was one of them, you want to build a resilient system that can survive outside of a Claude subscription. Now, you do have to use some apps unless you want all of it to be local. I like GitHub for syncing things across the web. Locally, I like Obsidian. The problem with Obsidian is I, as the human, don't love to be in there reading it, and it is hard to collaborate with other people. So if you're doing something for your family or for your work that has teammates accessing it, Obsidian is not ideal. I like Notion for that. You can use the free version of Notion. You're just connecting your AI tool to it to put the document or build the database. But for me, the human, to be able to read and interact and most importantly, collaborate with other people, I like Notion over Obsidian. And if you have a bunch of work in one of these apps, let's say you have a ChatGPT project you've been working on for months. If you don't know where to start with this, just tell ChatGPT what you have, like Obsidian, Notion, GitHub, whatever, and say, I want to build this outside of ChatGPT. How can I save it or sync it there and make it so I can use Claude to work on the same project? The most important thing is we all know these models change. They get blocked by the government. Your company is going to change what you have access to. If it's personal, you might cancel a plan that you've been paying for months or years. Like me, I paid for ChatGPT for 30 months straight. Cancel it, there goes all of my work. Now, the irony in all of this is after taking about a 6-month break from paying for ChatGPT and using it at all because I was largely in Claude, I am back to using a ChatGPT plan. In fact, I'm on the Pro plan, which is $200 a month, and it's the best subscription that I have. And it's the last thing I'd want to cancel right now. I don't want you to be stuck like that. Build an environment where you can check things out across different apps and use whatever model on any device that you want. And you don't have to be beholden to these big companies like OpenAI and Anthropic to do your work.